There's a moment that changes everything. It happens quietly, often when you're not expecting it, in the space between two breaths. A dog that was afraid, defensive, or completely withdrawn suddenly looks at you differently. Their eyes soften, their body relaxes. In that single instant, something shifts. Trust is born. If you've ever experienced this with a rescue dog, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't yet, I want to show you what that moment looks like, and, more importantly, what comes after it. So if you're curious about building deep connections with dogs, please subscribe to the channel. We explore these moments and the real transformations they bring. When a dog first arrives in a new home, especially a rescue, they often carry invisible weight. Fear lives in their body. You might see it in the way they press themselves into corners, ears pinned back, avoiding eye contact at all costs. They don't know you yet. They don't know if you're safe. Everything about their new environment is overwhelming. New sounds, new smells, new people with unpredictable hands. A dog in this state isn't being difficult. They're being protective of themselves, which is the only strategy that kept them alive before you found them. Your job in these early days isn't to force connection. It's to create safety through consistency. When you sit on the floor at the dog's level, you're not trying to loom over them or demand interaction. You're making yourself small, vulnerable even. You're saying, without words, that you're not a threat. You place your hand open on the ground, not reaching, just present. You might have a treat there, something good, something that smells like care. But you don't push, you wait. Patience here isn't just kindness, it's the language dogs actually understand. The dog watches you from across the room. They notice everything: your breathing, the way you blink, whether your body is tense or relaxed. Dogs are reading us constantly, assessing threat level the way we might read a room full of strangers. Every small movement you make is data they're collecting. So you stay still. You breathe slowly. You let them decide what happens next. This is harder than it sounds, because every instinct you have wants to reach out, to comfort, to speed up the process. But rushing trust breaks it before it even forms. Days might pass, a week, 2 weeks. You fill their water bowl the same way each morning. You place their food bowl down gently, always in the same spot where soft light comes through the window. You create a routine so predictable that the dog begins to understand the rhythm of your days together. This rhythm becomes a kind of communication. It says, "You're safe here, and I'm consistent. I won't hurt you. I won't abandon you." Every single thing I do proves this, over and over. Then one afternoon, something happens. You're sitting on the floor again, doing nothing special. Maybe you're reading, or just sitting quietly with your hand open. The dog is in the room, perhaps on their bed near the window where the light is warm and soft. And slowly, so slowly you almost miss it, they move. Not toward the door, not away, but toward you. Their paws make soft sounds on the wooden floor. The distance between you shrinks. You feel your heart quicken, but you don't move. You stay exactly as you were. The dog's nose touches your hand. It's barely a touch, tentative, testing, but it happens. They sniff your open palm, taking in your scent, gathering information. You can feel their breath, warm and careful. In this moment, something profound is occurring. The dog is saying, "I've decided. I've watched you. I've waited. And I think you might be safe. I think I might be able to trust you." This is the moment. This is the exact second when everything changes. What comes immediately after is often surprising. That dog might pull back, retreat to their bed, and rest. Trust doesn't mean they instantly become clingy or demanding. Sometimes the first sign of trust is the ability to relax enough to sleep. You watch them settle down, maybe a long sigh escaping their body, and you realize what just happened. They trusted you enough to be vulnerable, to close their eyes while you were nearby, to let their guard down, even for a moment. Over the next days and weeks, you'll see changes compound. The dog starts following you from room to room. They don't stay glued to your side, but they keep you in sight. They know where you are. This is trust deepening. When you sit on the couch, they might jump up beside you, not asking permission, not scared anymore, just joining you because they want to be near where you are. Sometimes their paw touches your leg. It's not demanding attention, it's confirmation. You're here, I'm here, we're together. Walks become different too. That leash you'd been holding, hoping someday they'd feel safe on it, becomes a connection rather than a restraint. You walk through the park with dappled shade overhead, green grass beneath your feet, and a dog that's present with you, instead of terrified by the world. They might sniff a tree, pause to listen to birds, pull slightly toward something interesting, but they check in with you. They glance back. They're not walking away from you, they're walking with you. The subtle difference is everything. Trust changes how a dog handles everyday moments. Sounds that once sent them into panic, a car door slamming, a siren in the distance, raised voices, become less overwhelming because they have a reference point now. They have you. When something scary happens, they might come to you instead of hiding. They might press against your leg. They might look up at you as if to ask, "Is this okay?" And when you stay calm, when you don't react with alarm, they learn that they can trust your judgment too. Your steadiness becomes their steadiness. In the evening, when lamplight fills your living room with warmth and the day is winding down, the transformation becomes visible in the smallest ways. The dog rests their head on your lap. Their body is completely relaxed, weight settling against you, trusting you to be still enough to hold them. This dog who once couldn't bear to be touched now seeks it out. Not because you've convinced them to, but because they've decided that this, your presence, your touch, your companionship, is what they want. This is safety made tangible. Like this video if you felt the weight of a dog's head on your lap and understood in that moment what trust really means. Because that's what we're celebrating here. Not just the moment itself, but what it represents. The transformation from fear to belonging. What changes after that first moment of trust extends beyond just behavior. They sleep better because hypervigilance has eased. They play because they have energy that wasn't being burned up on worry. They're curious now instead of just cautious. A toy on the floor might actually interest them. They might bring it to you, drop it at your feet, and look at you with what can only be described as joy. You've given them something precious, the ability to rest, to relax, to be present in their own life instead of trapped in survival mode. But here's what's profound. This dog isn't suddenly a different personality. They're the same dog they always were, just finally able to show you who they are. The trust didn't create their personality. It unlocked it. It gave them permission to be themselves because they finally believed they were safe enough to do so. That's the real gift of building trust with a dog who's known fear. You're not changing them. You're allowing them to become. The consistency that made trust possible in the first place continues to matter. That routine you built, the feeding schedule, the walks, the quiet time on the floor, all of it remains the foundation. But now it means something different. Now it's not about convincing a frightened dog that you're safe. It's about reinforcing the bond you've built, showing this dog day after day that you meant what you offered, that you're here, consistently, reliably, with your open hand and your patient breathing and your refusal to give up on them. You'll notice that the dog anticipates things now. When you reach for the leash, they get excited because they know walks are coming. When you head to the kitchen at a certain time, they follow because they know that's when meals happen. This isn't just learned behavior, it's trust expressing itself through expectation. They expect good things from you. They expect consistency, and they're rarely disappointed, so the cycle strengthens. Other people might not understand what you see in your dog. They might not understand why you talk about that moment when the dog first chose to trust you like it was the most important thing that ever happened. But if you've lived it, you know. That moment represents something fundamental about vulnerability and connection. Because when a dog trusts you, they're teaching you something too. They're showing you what real presence looks like, what it means to be completely in the moment with another being. They're demonstrating that patience genuinely works, that consistency builds bridges, that vulnerability can be safe.